Once upon a time, at the beginning of the film, we meet a young man named Rick. He's browsing through weapons at a bazaar when the seller offers him a Russian-made AK-47 for $200. Rick, skeptical of its authenticity, calls his father over. After his father confirms it's fake, they negotiate with the seller, eventually purchasing two guns for $150. On their way home, Rick's father expresses concern about their illegal arms dealings, suggesting they pursue a legitimate business and live a normal life. Upon arriving home, they find a car parked outside, sparking the father's paranoia. He grabs a gun, only to discover Rick's sister, Dawn, with her boyfriend inside. A heated argument ensues. Later, in their basement, Rick and his father work on modifying the guns to increase their value. Despite Rick's warnings, Dawn decides to leave home, disappointed in her father. Rick reminds her to be cautious, but her love blinds her. As Dawn leaves, her father watches silently from the window, making no attempt to stop her. Rick then begins marketing the modified guns, visiting a black market stronghold where he attracts the attention of FBI agents Joni, Frank, and Alex. The next day, Rick overhears his father conversing with the FBI agents who are investigating illegal weapons sales. Rick is questioned and shown photos of suspects, including Joni. Despite recognizing him, Rick denies any knowledge to protect his newfound friendships. Frustrated by the lack of leads, the FBI agents leave. Rick is left to ponder his choices, torn between loyalty to his family and the allure of his new life. Rick spent the evening with his new friends until late. As he was about to head home, he was suddenly called by someone in a car. Reluctantly, he got in, only to find out it was Alex and Frank. In the car, there was also an undercover narcotics agent named Jackson, working on a drug case. They explained they needed Rick's help as a spy to infiltrate a drug lord's operation. They wanted him to pretend to buy drugs and gather information on their origin. In return, Rick would be paid $300 for the mission. Accepting the offer, Rick went to a suspected drug lord's hideout and attempted to buy drugs. Afterward, he provided information to the FBI about the drug distribution network he discovered. Gradually, Rick started making a lot of money from selling weapons and providing FBI intelligence. On the other hand, he developed a good relationship with Joni's gang, known for their power. One day, Rick was invited to Joni's wedding. On his way home, he met a girl named Brenda, and they spent the night together. The next day, Rick met with FBI agents and Jackson again. Now, Rick's role as an informant deepened, and he was even given 650 grams of narcotics to distribute to uncover the city's drug network. From then on, Rick's life took an unexpected turn. He had substantial savings from drug sales and his FBI work. However, one day, Rick's father saw him in a car with FBI agents. Concerned, he searched Rick's room and found a box containing $982, the money Rick earned as an FBI informant. When Rick returned home, his father confronted him, expressing his disapproval of Rick's association with the FBI. Rick tried to justify his actions, but his father's anger boiled over, resulting in a physical altercation. That night, Rick discreetly left home in his grandfather's car, heading to a restaurant to meet his sister, Dawn. He expressed his longing for her and confided about his conflict with their father. Suddenly, their stolen car was spotted, and Rick and Dawn attempted to apprehend the thief, but failed. Their actions attracted the attention of two police officers who promptly intervened. At the police station, FBI agents tried to arrange Rick's release, but he was implicated in illegal firearm possession and attempted murder by the police. After being assisted by the FBI, Rick returned home, picked up by his father. Once released from the police station, Rick went to Joni's place to meet his friends. However, upon arrival, they all looked at Rick differently. Joni asked Rick what he had done to get arrested. Rick explained that he had shot the thief who stole his car. Joni then questioned whether Rick had involved him or his crew, essentially asking if Rick had snitched on them to the police. Rick assured Joni that he wouldn't involve him or his friends in the matter. Sometime later, Joni invited Rick to a Vegas trip, a city known for its casinos. They spent the night partying there, but all VIP tickets for a boxing match were sold out, leaving them to watch it on TV instead. While watching, Joni's enemies arrived and mocked him, leading to Joni losing his temper and assaulting one of them. Subsequently, Joni's enemy's son shot up one of Joni's crew members' houses, injuring a child. The incident made headlines, escalating tensions between rival gangs. Rick, who watched the news, became frightened and went to the basement to retrieve weapons, but his father caught him. Rick's father expressed his disapproval of Rick's Las Vegas escapades and wearing a Jewish necklace. Meanwhile, Joni gathered his crew after the incident, furious about his crew member's death. However, their problems weren't limited to that, as both the police and FBI were investigating illegal weapon possession and usage, putting Joni in a precarious situation. Suspicious of a police informant among them, Joni expressed his concerns, making Rick uneasy. On the way home, Rick encountered the FBI but refused to cooperate further, fearing Joni's suspicions. In light of the situation, Rick decided to distance himself from the FBI. He also apologized to his grandfather for the stolen car incident. Rick's father began disposing of their illegal weapons. One day, a friend and Joni's crew member visited Rick's house. Rick offered him a drink, but suddenly, the friend shot Rick in the stomach. Rick was rushed to the hospital, where FBI agents, his longtime allies, were already present. In front of the FBI agents, Rick's father vowed revenge on whoever shot Rick. The FBI informed them that Joni was the likely culprit and that they would apprehend him soon. However, Rick's father, consumed by anger, was ready to take matters into his own hands. He went to Joni's place, armed with a pistol, but reconsidered, remembering the FBI's advice. He left Joni's hideout, opting not to take rash action. Eventually, Rick's condition improved, and the FBI kept their promise by arresting Joni and his gang. Sometime later, a young child arrived at Rick's residence, claiming to be Brenda's sibling. The child relayed the news that Brenda had given birth to Rick's baby, which initially seemed unbelievable to Rick, considering their brief encounter. Despite his skepticism, Rick visited Brenda's home to take responsibility, where he met Brenda and their daughter, accompanied by his delighted father. During their journey back home, Rick and his father discussed their financial woes, recognizing their inability to continue their weapons trade. While Rick proposed returning to drug dealing, his father disagreed. A near accident due to his father's distracted driving further highlighted their dire financial situation, prompting Rick to insist on resuming drug sales, a decision his father reluctantly accepted. Reconnecting with an old drug contact, Rick restarted his drug business, utilizing his existing network and market knowledge to facilitate sales effortlessly. Meanwhile, Rick and his father sought out Dawn, who had been absent for a while, finding her in a dismal state due to drug addiction. Despite Dawn's reluctance to return home and wait for her partner, Rick's father insisted on bringing her back, facilitating her detox at home and witnessing her gradual improvement. As Rick's drug business thrived, he regained his former wealth and success within a year, reintegrating into social circles and even engaging in an affair with Joni's wife, despite learning of Joni's lengthy imprisonment. Returning home, Rick's father cautioned him against succumbing to greed in his dealings. One morning, amidst banter with Dawn, Rick heard commotion downstairs, leading to the discovery of a police raid on their home. Initially perplexed by his arrest, Rick learned of the charges of drug trafficking, compounded by evidence indicating his sale of 8 kilograms of narcotics. Realizing his son was in serious trouble, Rick's father approached the FBI, who had been assisting Rick all along. The FBI tried to help as best they could, but there was no guarantee Rick could escape this case, given the large quantity of drugs he had sold. Subsequently, the FBI offered a way out by proposing for Rick to become an FBI informant once again. This time, they were targeting the corrupt mayor, who happened to be Rick's friend. The FBI instructed Rick to pretend to seek his friend's help in storing drugs at the mayor's house. This way, the FBI would have grounds to arrest the mayor. With no other options, Rick reluctantly agreed to cooperate with the FBI and approached the mayor's son, informing her of the upcoming drug shipment and seeking her assistance. Some time passed, and Rick's case began to be tried. However, the plan didn't go smoothly, as Rick was ultimately found guilty of drug trafficking. The FBI's promise to assist Rick also failed to materialize, leaving Rick trapped. Consequently, Rick's father visited one of the FBI agents who had made promises, but the agent explained that they had tried their best, but the court's decision couldn't be overturned. Undeterred, Rick's father sought out another FBI agent named Frank, Frank revealed that the mission to apprehend the mayor had failed, preventing them from fulfilling their promise to release Rick from legal trouble. Despite exploring various avenues to escape legal repercussions, all efforts failed, leading to Rick's sentencing to life imprisonment in a specialized restricted cell, allowing limited access to the outside world for only 1 hour per day. One day, Dawn visited Rick, bringing along Rick's toddler daughter. They conversed and shared their longing for each other. Rick's father also visited, offering words of encouragement and promising to continue supporting Rick. Rick's father reassured him that they would keep fighting for leniency, aiming for a reduced sentence. However, Rick, exhausted by it all, expressed resignation, stating that perhaps this was what everyone wanted. Nevertheless, Rick's father persisted in uplifting Rick, affirming his belief in Rick's resilience. He vowed to keep visiting Rick in prison. Rick became the longest-serving nonviolent offender in Michigan. Throughout his life sentence, Rick had also aided the FBI in combating crime. After nearly 3 decades behind bars, Rick finally received parole from the government.